if you don't know what your purpose is, you're not alone. And the more time you spend thinking about it, the less likely you are to come up with anything relevant. Why? Because purpose comes in layers. Your true purpose in life is really deep down in the core, and it takes layers, time, and experiences to get there. It took me 15 years to find my purpose. And honestly, it's one of those things that you just can't shortcut. Because if you live in the Western world like I do, society will tell you you need this, you need that, and there's a lot of external factors that come into play when we talk about purpose, right? Like money, money, relationships, self-esteem, confidence, etc. But truly, a good question to ask yourself is, what would you do if you had $100 million? And of course, your first thought would be like, yeah, I'm going to take a vacation there. I'm going to be on a boat in the south of France, this, and that, and all of that. You're going to indulge in pleasure, call it a month, 2 months, 6 months, then what? Right? What are you going to do for the rest of your life? There's only so much pleasure you can indulge in before you're like, what now? So for me, when I was 21 years old, I had graduated college and I got a really good job. I got a job in finance at one of the best banks in the world called Goldman Sachs. And from the outside looking in, it would appear that I had it made, right? I was making $100,000 a year. I had graduated college. I had a girlfriend. My family was proud of me. This job, to get a job at Goldman Sachs, was apparently really difficult, and it wasn't easy to get this job. But the moral of the story was, from the outside looking in, I had it made. But every day I would wake up and I had this feeling inside of me that something's wrong, right? Despite the external factor of, yeah, I'm making good money, I have a good job, everyone's so proud of me, and it looks like I'm doing really well because I have this big name tag on my resume and my LinkedIn and all that, right? But every day when I would put on this suit, I would feel like an absolute clown. Because the thing about purpose is, when you look in the mirror and you're not living in the highest integrity of who you truly can be, your intuition is going to tell you to go the other way, right? And for 11 months, I lied to myself. Every day I would walk into the office, I would put on this politically correct voice and talk to my associates like, hey, how are you? How's your weekend? And you get to the cooler on Friday and talk about all the things that you're going to do for the weekend. Thank God it's Friday. And then when Wednesday comes around, you're like, happy hump day, all that bullshit. But the bullshit aside, what came to my mind was, man, if I played this story out for 5, 10, 20 years, would I be happy in this position? And the answer was no. But the biggest thing that happened to me was I would take public transport every day. And I remember seeing this older man. I believe he was Asian. But what I saw was, every single day, he would follow the same route as me. and he would just look down as he's taking public transport. And he would just he looked so sad and basically a shell of his existence. And the more I saw this, the more I saw myself. And at a certain point, I just got to the point when I realized, man, if I keep living and lying to myself every day, I'm going to end up like that guy. So one day, I had enough, and it took me 11 and a half months, and I quit. I quit because in my mind, I knew that my life is worth more than $100,000 and a job title and where I worked. Like, that's not me. That's all in the external, right? Deep down, when you come to the realization that you are limitless, you will act very differently. And at the time, I didn't know that. More so, I was just really unhappy with my current situation. So I just quit. And going back to purpose being layers, at the time, I had removed or I had achieved the layer of society, making 100K a year, and I guess making my parents happy, and basically all these like very inconsequential external things that I needed to achieve for myself or my mental, that it was removed, right? So for the next 8 years, I taught myself how to play poker, right? I took a one-way flight to LA and I taught myself how to play poker. And fast forward, I'm about 30 years old at this point, and in my bank account, I had more money than I could spend. That's not true. All I knew in my mind was I didn't have to work for the next 6 to 7 years financially. So I was financially fine. So it dawned upon me, I'm sitting at the poker table and I'm like, what am I doing at this poker table? Right? Because if I don't need any more money, then why am I here? Why am I playing poker if I don't need any more money? So at the time, I had this really weird existential crisis where I was like, man, what is the meaning of my life? Is it just to make money? And what I did was I started to reflect on the closest people around me, and those were my parents. And the way that I look at their lives is, you know, after the Vietnam War, around 78, they came to America. And their purpose at the time was get into a better situation for the family, have a family, and basically not be broke, right? You have those three things. And what happened? They achieved it, right? They got to the middle class, they had a family, they got married, and they, quote unquote, achieved the American dream. But after that, when I looked at my dad and my mom's life, I realized now they're purposeless, right? At the age of 65, all they do is sit around watching TV and playing video games on their iPads. And it was kind of crazy when that hit me, because what I realized was when you think about purpose in a short-term way, or you don't think that your purpose is much bigger than, say, having a family or a job, basically, like status, job, and family, then you're really limiting yourself, because there's a big world out there. And when I look at my dad and mom's life, it's like they're selling themselves short, because now they're going to spend the rest of their life purposeless. And the thing is, what happens when you're purposeless is you don't have this vital energy and this hunger for more. And it's not about more status, money, or experiences. It's more about impact. That's the true essence of purpose. I read this book called The Sophia Code, and it talks about a lot about ascended masters, and there's a big concept called heaven on earth. And when I thought about this and how it related to my purpose, I realized that whatever I did from the time from where I am now to the time that I die, I would have to have had made an impact on this world. Meaning, by the time that I die, or when I die, looking back on my life, I want as many people to be like, wow, his life was worth something. And that's how I came up with my purpose. And I just wanted to share that with you. I hope it helps you to reiterate that life comes in layers and your purpose is deep down within your core. And I hope this video helps you so that you don't keep searching for it and it will come to you one day. So anyways, if you like this video, hit me with a sub, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.